You know, it's no secret that we constantly talk here about the fact that this abortion holocaust exists because of the cowardice of the American church, all denominations across the board. Abortion would not exist in this country if the church didn't want it to exist. And it's not because I get so sick of hearing people say, well, it's a matter of education. We've got to do a better job of educating these pastors, like it's our fault that they're doing what they're doing.
They're not reading the Bible.
It has nothing to do with education.
Yeah.
There's not a pastor in this country that doesn't understand that abortion is the cold-blooded murder of an innocent child that God created. There's not one of them that doesn't know that. They might not know the details. They might not have ever seen pictures, but they know that.
Yeah.
The missing ingredient here is courage and character. We have a church that is completely devoid of courage and character, or virtually completely devoid of it. We have a perfect example of this, and we're joined now by a young lady from Charlotte, North Carolina, not too far from your
very close by now.
Neck of the woods there, Johnny. Kristen Wilson. Hello, Kristen.
Hi.
How are you doing?
I'm good. How are you?
Well, I'm just fine, but I don't think you are. I think you seem to be a rabble-rouser. And
maybe a little bit.
You're such an outcast in society now. You've been banned from your own church. Is that correct?
That is correct, yes.
Awesome. That's awesome.
Yeah.
What grievous sin did you commit? Did you have an abortion?
No.
Did you
never.
go up in a tower and shoot a bunch of people, or what did you do?
No. I simply went to the church that I've been going to for 4 years and tried to hand out pro-life brochures to the congregation as they entered to go into the service.
And the church has now banned you from coming on the property. Is that correct?
That is correct. If we go back, we will be arrested.
And what reason did they give you for this?
They did not.
No reason.
No reason at all.
Well, we contacted, this is the Central Church of God in Charlotte. We contacted a guy there named Dennis Livingston and asked them to come on because we didn't want to sit here and have you accuse them of this and not give them a chance to defend themselves. They chose not to come on. He said he would not entertain these people or any interviews about this situation. And then he said a strange thing. We're going to let the Lord fight the battle for us. So I guess now they've engaged the Lord on their side to fight against you, I guess is what he's saying. They said you could not come there because you're involved with this organization called Operation Save America. And when we asked him why, he said because we disagree with their methods and their attitudes. They show the pictures of the aborted babies, and they don't like that. And he says, look, anyone who knows this church knows that we're pro-life. You know, it's real easy to say you're pro-life. Nancy Pelosi would probably tell you she's pro-life.
Planned Parenthood in Kansas says they're pro-life.
Right.
Honestly,
I've had them tell me that. I've had them tell me that when I was in debates with them. Oh, everybody's pro-life.
Yeah.
This is where the rubber meets the road. And when it comes to actually acting on those words, these people wean it out. We asked them if they went to the abortion clinics to reach out to the women who are thinking about having abortions. He said, I'm sure that some people in the church do, but we don't. So some people in the church do it, but...
Well, why aren't they banned too?
Well, they don't, because the only two people in their church that did, they just banned us.
Yep.
Right.
No, the church doesn't.
All right.
And they do have abortion clinics nearby the church?
Yes, there are actually 3 in Charlotte, and there are 2 within a 4-mile radius of Central Church of God.
This is a microcosm of the problem with abortion in this country. Right here. This is exactly the problem with these churches, right?
Did you tell your church and your pastor that they're part of the problem? That they are the problem?
Well, I definitely did send a letter to Pastor Lorianne Livingston. It was about an 8-page letter, and, of course, I never heard back. He's very hard. You can't reach him. You have to go through his secretary, Janice, and you cannot reach Pastor Lorianne.
How convenient.
You know, Kristen, I've been through this with so many churches, it's hard to recount how many there's been. But I'm sure that they went through Matthew 18 with you, right? I mean, if your brother sins against you, you go to them one on one to attempt to win them back, etc. And you go through this process, right? So I'm sure that they did this with you in order to try to win one of the 99 sheep that have gone astray, or there's 99 there, and you're the one sheep that have gone astray. They're trying to win you back, right?
I wish I could say yes, but no, they did not.
So what you're really saying then, and I'm being a little facetious, but these are not pastors. A pastor's heart is winsome. You go and you go and find that lost sheep. If they believe that you're a reprobate sinner, they're going to come back to you and try to win you back and bring you back into the fold. But what in essence they've done is said that you are the righteous and they are the sinners.
Yeah. And, he says that he didn't think that they don't like Operation Save America's tactics because they show the graphic images and that those are inappropriate for children to see. These people don't have a bit of problem with an abortion clinic right down the street from them and multiple abortion clinics in the area that are doing this. They just don't want people to see it.
Right. Exactly.
That's the bottom line here. And like I said, this is a microcosm of the American church today. And this country is in a state of moral collapse because the church has already collapsed. They are leading this collapse that we're in today.
I call it willful ignorance, Mark.
Yeah, they chose it.
These churches want to live in willful ignorance. They know what's going on, but don't show it to me. It's the proverbial ostrich's head in the sand.
Right, exactly. It's the same exact deal.
So what does this guy preach about? I mean, does he preach about sin or?
Well, it's really funny because the church it's an amazing church. It has over 7,000 members, but the Pastor Loran Livingston, he is truly a man of God. He, preaches the Bible. He's never been one to shy away from offending. He preaches truth. Well, we found a sermon of his in 2004 where he preaches against abortion, and he preaches how we need to go out in the streets. We ought to be stomping our feet and screaming. He preaches that he wants bulldogs within his church, and then he made the comment that if we're not doing anything about it, we are just as guilty as the ones committing the murder.
He's at least right about that.
Right. That's certainly
But
right.
now here we go. We give them an opportunity to come out and join us in the street, to be the bulldog, to scream and fight like he said, and then they've shunned us and banned us from their church.
That's what happens in the churches when you actually do what they say, when
Right.
you do pick up your Jesus' cross and follow him, when you do abandon the culture and you dive into Christian ministry, the first people that shoot at you are the Christians that told you to go do that.
Sure, he's hiding behind that pulpit, and that's why I'd be just so upset. When I was talking about John Lewis, I'm talking about the same thing with such a pastor as this. Here's a pastor, I believe she's right. I believe God gave him that word. I think everything he preached in 2004 was right on. Now, he's going to stand before God on the final day of judgment and give an account.
But, Johnny, it's real easy to stand behind a pulpit in
easy.
front of several hundred people that all agree with you and say anything. But this is where the rubber meets the road. When you have to actually go out and put feet on your prayers, you find that a lot of these guys run for the high grass.
Amen.
Well, thank you, Kristen, for being with us. And I'm sure if they don't want you back, somebody else does. So
Keep stirring
I
up
hope
trouble.
so.
you keep looking, and you stay on the streets, and you keep holding those signs and holding America's sin in front of them, because that's what we're called to do.
And if for any
Absolutely,
reason,
amen.
if for any reason you can't find a church in Charlotte, you're welcome to Fayetteville, North Carolina. Come down with church service.
Well, thank you. I appreciate
And
that.
Kristen, a word of encouragement with your signs. I always say to people, I wish someone would have had the signs held up when I went in a long time ago.
Yep. Oh, yes. I mean, well, they're powerful in their truth, so
Yep,
So
Just
keep
shake
going.
the dust off your feet and move on.
that's right.
absolutely.
Thank you, Kristen.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Okay, bye.
It's cool and saddle.